James the other day, and I just finished the bottle like literally a minute ago, and it is 91 proof.
Mm. Is that why you might have a little difficulty concentrating?
That's the purpose of notes, my friend. But I haven't even opened the Detroit City Distillery one, which is 94 proof. Haven't even opened it, but I am thinking that for my groomsmen, this will probably be the gift.
Mm.
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
But I do have cider on tap over here. I wasn't lying about the whole cider thing.
Mm. Well,
Yates cider, by the way.
Ooh, very good.
Remember that, right?
I'm not much of a bourbon guy. I'm a Scotch whiskey guy.
You're a Scotch guy. Well, same difference. Trust me.
It's not the same.
Okay, I'm just telling you.
It's not the same.
I'm telling you, some of the Scotch you gave me while I was over at your house sitting on the porch smoking cigars, or while you smoked a cigar and I just talked about my vision for ministry in the city. Gosh, remember that? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
When you were still optimistic.
I was. And you know, the funny thing is, Justin, about that, I've really been wondering lately, confession time. I've really been wondering lately whether I need to move out of the city or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sometimes feel like the city has devoured my faith. But at the same time, I want to say, you know, the city is an easy scapegoat for my own sin. And did I get to the city with a purposeful mission in mind, God's calling on my life, and Satan immediately attack that because he knows the city is where I'm supposed to be.
Mm.
So that's something to be praying about, because I'm praying and thinking about moving out of the city. I'm not entirely sure yet.
Well, Cal, you know what's funny about that is I have been praying about that for you, because I knew that this was going to be a conversation that we were going to have at some point in time. And actually, I've been praying about it ever since you moved to the city. And what I would have said to you then is significantly different than what I would say to you now. And a lot of that is because of my own maturing and coming to a better understanding. But if it hadn't been for your move to the city, I would not have understood the importance of the urban community to the church. Like, it's not kind of important. It's not as important. I would say that the urban community is actually more important than the rural community, because where the city goes, the culture goes.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I was reading that book I was telling you about, Church History in Plain Language, where it talks about where Paul and the apostles in their writings use the word the world. When they say the world, they're actually referring, and I need to read it again, but I just read it like earlier in preparation for this, but it's not really pertinent to the conversation tonight for what we're recording. But it said when Paul and the apostles, or Paul the apostle, referred to the world, they were actually referring to the city. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And so I really am trying to figure out, God, am I supposed to be here? I felt like I prayerfully approached the city, and then the noise immediately clamored in. All the things I knew about going in, but had never experienced.
Right.
Are making me question, oh, well, am I supposed to be here? Am I the right guy for city ministry? Am I letting my own personal sin cloud where I'm supposed to be, okay, I'm going to move back to the suburbs, and that's going to come with a whole other set of problems, but somehow that's going to fix my relationship with God. And I'm not saying my relationship with God is on the outs by any means, but I feel like here in the city, in terms of ministry, I'm kind of like a failure right now. I'm not really doing anything. I've had a few people that say that my faith inspires them, but I've had far more defeats than victories, and maybe that's normal. I don't know.
That's normal.
The alcohol in my system makes it hard to judge at the moment.
Yeah.
Coupled with the possible antipsychotic that I took.
I
don't know what it was.
Which probably was not a good idea to do with alcohol.
Well, I just took the alcohol like 2 seconds ago. So and I took the pill like 2 or 3 hours ago. I don't know how long it stays in my system, but either way.
The Paul referencing the city. Paul's reference of the world, it was likely talking about urban lifestyle, but it was talking about the moral construct or constructs that made up that society. It's not necessarily talking about urban life in general.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is urban life in general in the Old Testament, or sorry, not Old Testament, New Testament, is rural life compared to today's urban life.
Well, I mean,
if
because of the advancement of technology and stuff like that, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were to travel back in time to a city, if we were to travel back in time to an ancient city, we would consider it more agrarian and more country than our cities today.
Well, yeah. I think it depends on the city.
Right.
I mean, you talk about cities like Corinth and Rome, and no, they're cities.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to look a whole lot different from today's cities, other than the architecture and how people
right.
dress.
Yeah, lacking technology. There's something that happens when you have a bunch of people gathered together in the same place, stacked on top of each other.
Rome and Corinth are two places that are very similar, and you see the kind of issues that Rome and Corinth both had. I mean, out of the churches that Paul writes to, those two churches are probably two of the most embattled and embittered churches that we see in the New Testament. So, in terms of who he's writing to. So, ministry in the city in urban life is not easy, but if you're going to make an impact on the culture you live in, you almost have to be doing it in the city. Turned off your power. Okay. Oh, Calvin.